All right, everybody. Welcome to Fantasy Football Live with the Fantasy Sports Boss. It was another wild day in the NFL. Lots of injuries to get to. Certainly some big names. Justin Fields, to name probably the biggest in terms of today, considering how well he's been playing lately. Going to go through all the games as usual. Going to talk about the top performances and also the players that bombed out that we were relying on this week, and go through each game as one right after the other in that respect. And of course, take all your questions from the chat as well. Make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. And then just post away, and I'll answer as we go along for anybody who's new to the wrap up stream. So we're definitely in the stretch run now in fantasy football leagues. I was able to win both of my leagues today, thank goodness. So now I am, 9-2 in one league, and now I'm 7-4 in the other. 7-4 in the league that I was very frustrated with earlier in the season. I survived Davante Adams, that late touchdown to walk off the Denver Broncos. I mean, if you're the Denver Broncos and you Nathaniel Hackett and you lose to Josh McDaniels, then you really should go home and hand in your whistle. I mean, that's how bad it is. So I did survive Davante Adams. There's certain players in fantasy football, when you go against them, you just instantly shudder and you just hope to survive and hope it's not a complete wreck. Like, Saquon Barkley, Davante Adams, used to be Lamar Jackson, not anymore. Luckily I was able to survive that. And Tony Pollard, who I'm still using as one of my top two running backs, and he just went off today, even with Ezekiel Elliott back on the field, and Elliott scoring 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, listen, we knocked Jerry Jones a lot because of his infatuation with Ezekiel Elliott. A lot of that is for monetary reasons. But hey, listen, it worked, and they beat a Vikings team that hasn't lost since the opener of the season. This is a very solid Vikings team that has just been running off a string of victories, one right after the other, and they were able to put them on the canvas very early in this game as well. So I definitely think that Pollard and Elliott are going to continue to be a big tandem. So let's go through the games here. Let me pull this up now on my phone. So the Atlanta Falcons, 5-6 right now. They're in the playoff. Oh, John, you're making fun of the curtain. So this is what happened. So I'm not in my usual spot tonight because, well, I mean, I'm at home. I got 2 kids. I can't monopolize the basement, which is where I do most of the streams. So I had to sacrifice tonight and let them do their thing and be a good dad. And so now I'm upstairs, in one of the bedrooms. So, I'm sorry it's romantic, but I'm not going for that look, but that's what I'm dealing with today. So, is Warren okay? So, I don't have anything, Joe, yet about Warren, but that was a real bummer. Najee Harris, though, is getting better and taking advantage of his increased playing time. So I think that certainly for Harris, it stands to reason that he'll do better as we go on, just because Jaylen Warren is not going to be around. So based on what the injury looks like, but I'll update it as we go along. I have everything set up for any kind of updates to come through, and I'll share that with you guys. So right to the top, Justin Fields injured his left shoulder, and he said he was in a lot of pain after the game. So it was a real bummer in the sense that, we put up 40 plus fantasy points 2 weeks in a row, taking over the league by storm, and top 5 quarterback the rest of the season. Easy, right. Looks like Jalen Hurts reincarnated. But now we have to worry about the shoulder. And like I said before on the video for Fields, we can't have anything nice in fantasy football. And that's, and the same thing with Wan'Dale Robinson. So now we're going to have to see what's going on with Fields. The Bears are not going to risk their young quarterback. So especially in what's going to be a meaningless game. So I already get the sense that it's going to be an uphill climb for him to play next week. So, we just got to see, but it's a real shame because, we had a solid game, 14-21, 153 yards, a touchdown, and threw a very late interception, ran for 85 yards and another score. So, 2 more touchdowns for Fields as he continues to put up the points. on a weekly basis. And now we just got to see about the injury. Hey man, that she's sports one boss. Quick question. So I'm helping you answer the question. Should I play Mike Williams, Isaiah Pacheco? I play Mike Williams easy. This is going to be a shootout. Williams and Allen are both back, so they're going to play off each other. And I think Williams is going to be have a good day. This is a little lot of, yeah. No, that's all right. No problem. You know what? My wife is a real boss, so you're not wrong. Marcus Mariota, he threw for a touchdown, ran for another. So, the job is still his. He's been holding Desmond Ridder off for now. And listen, they're 5-6, so they're still in it, the Falcons, and they've exceeded, I think, everybody's expectations so far this season. David Montgomery. So with Khalil Herbert out, he was going to be the bell cow back, and he was. Certainly not impressive. 17 for 67, 3.9 a pop. That's about as good as you're going to get in terms of average from Montgomery. But he did score and caught 3 passes for 54 yards. He was more impressive in the passing game. So a minor bump for Montgomery the rest of the season. He's going to be more of a high-end running back 2 than a low-end running back 2. Thoughts on giving up Diggs and Hunt for Taylor and Keenan Allen? Yeah, I'm good with, well, you know what? Diggs is so good. We don't know about Allen. Well, I'll preface it this way. All right. So like I said, I have my alert set up. So Wan'Dale Robinson, I just want to update this. The fear is that Wan'Dale Robinson suffered a serious knee injury, had over 100 yards in the game before going down with the injury. He was spotted on crutches in the locker room. So shit, here we go. Guy that I was definitely highly high on, I should say, and has a game today, 9 for 100 yards, and then he winds up going down with a knee injury. So I think that is certainly a major loss for the Giants and certainly for his fantasy football owners. Thoughts on giving up Diggs? Oh, I've read that one already. I'm sorry. So you know what? I mean, if Keenan Allen's going to be okay, I guess I'm okay with it. Mixon and Dameon Pierce lost me the week. P. Ryan with 3 TDs. Yeah, we're going to get to all that. It was definitely a wild week for sure. And, I think that, certainly Joe Mixon's concussion was a big deal as well, and put a major hurt on his. And that just goes to show you in fantasy football, you're a hero one day, and then next week you crap the bed. And really, for Mixon, it's not his fault he got a concussion, but the wild swings in production you get week to week in fantasy football, it's enough to drive you crazy. It was a good game. Can't believe Allen's fantasy points today, like 5.9, 5.59, give or take. Yeah, it was crazy there. But as far as the rest of the Chicago game, so Kyle Pitts injured a knee. There's another big one. 3 catches for 43 yards. So again, under 10 fantasy points, which he's been at the majority of the season. Listen, write it off. It's a bust. It's a loss. Move on. If you're a Pitts owner, cut him loose. There's no reason other than the name. There is no reason to hold on to Kyle Pitts. That's it. He's been terrible. Like it's ridiculous. I'd rather have Pat Freiermuth the rest of the season than Kyle Pitts. Hell, I might even want to have Evan Engram more than Kyle Pitts. Not to repeat, I just wanted to get the question completely right. Should I play Mike Williams or Pacheco? Mike Williams. Definitely Mike Williams for sure, because I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in that game, and I can't wait to see that game too. All right, so Buffalo, gut check win for them, 31-23 over the Browns. This was probably more difficult than even Buffalo could have admitted. Or anticipated. Josh Allen, though, 18-27, 197 yards, and just 1 touchdown, and he ran for just 7 yards. So, again, 3rd week in a row now, or is it the 4th week in a row, where he has been disappointing in terms of his fantasy production. I keep bringing up Matthew Stafford in terms of the elbow injury, the UCL injury, and what we're now seeing possibly with Josh Allen. So Josh Allen is not right. He's not 100%. The elbow is a problem. He didn't even run in this game. So we got to see, this may be a rough finish to the season if you're a Josh Allen owner. Traded Foreman for Cooper last week, and he went off. Yes, he did. Let's get to that right now. Amari Cooper, 8 for 113 and 2 touchdowns. Listen, Amari Cooper is having a fantastic season. I know he tends to struggle sometimes on the road and outside as well. But I told you all to buy low on him weeks ago, because not only is he having a solid season, but Deshaun Watson is going to be back soon, and they're going to make great passing music together, the two of them. And truth be told, Cooper's been fantastic, even without Watson. So very, very impressive performance. Devin Singletary was solid, 18 for 86 and a touchdown. Only 2 catches for 11 yards, and Donovan Peoples-Jones, 5 for 61 for a touchdown. Peoples-Jones quietly is having a quality season as well. For the Bills, Dawson Knox led the way with 7 for 70. So Dawson Knox is usually a very severe touchdown dependent tight end each week. Didn't score, but he actually had a rare game where he caught a lot of passes. Everett not playing, starting McKitty as last resort. That is a last resort, man. That's a rough one. Maybe Trey McBride might maybe see if he's available. I don't know. That's pretty rough. But yet they are going to throw the ball a lot in this game. Gabe Davis 5 for 68 and Stephon Diggs 4 for 48. Luckily, he caught a touchdown because it was not a great game for Diggs. In this one, talk about not a great game. Nick Chubb 14 for 19. Yikes! Oh my God. He did catch 3 passes for 48 yards, which prevented a complete catastrophe, but it just goes to show you that Chubb really needs to score or rush for 100 yards, considering he doesn't catch the football much at all. So again, the bigger story there is Josh Allen. He still just doesn't look right. Late week decision. Are you taking Rondale Moore or Mike Williams? Oh gosh. I'm down 10 points. I have the flex spot. I would say Mike Williams because I think he has a better chance to score a touchdown than Rondale Moore. And there are quarterback question marks, whether it's Colt McCoy or Kyler Murray. I think Murray is genuinely a 50-50 game time decision. Listen, I'm very high on Mike Williams. He has a history of playing well against the Chiefs, and I think he's going to play very well tonight. Eckler still to go. They have McCaffrey and Connor. Yeah, that's tough, Steven. But I definitely would say Mike Williams. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles all of a sudden are having a tough time scoring. They eked this one out against Indianapolis. Jalen Hurts, 18 to 25, 190, 1 touchdown passing, 86 rushing and a score. So Jalen Hurts, even in a game where the Eagles score only 17 points, he still puts forth a very high-end fantasy performance. And again, not to keep repeating myself, but whether it's Justin Fields, Josh Allen when he's 100%, Jalen Hurts, the great advantage of having a dual threat runner passer, you really get like 2 players out of 1. So again, next year, ignore the dinosaur method of not drafting a quarterback early. You got to get one of these guys. Matt Ryan, again, played well, 23 of 32, 213, did not throw a touchdown or a pick, but he was fairly accurate. Jonathan Taylor, I said second half comeback. It's underway, 22 of 84 and a touchdown, 3.8 a carry is not great. But he did also contribute 3 catches for 10 yards. As long as he's scoring touchdowns, I think Taylor's going to be just fine. Miles Sanders now 13 for 47. This is the second straight game that he's been a dud. He only caught 1 pass for a yard. He's a fairly capable receiver. I don't know why the Eagles don't use him more in the passing game, but quiet game for Sanders for the second week in a row. So the rose is coming off the bloom a little bit when it comes to Sanders. Devontae Smith led the way for the second week in a row for the Eagle wideout, 6 for 78. A.J. Brown, 5 for 60. Not a great outing again. Less than 2 points last week, 11 points this week. Not what A.J. Brown owners are looking for. On the other hand, Michael Pittman, who has been rejuvenated, he's now a wide receiver 2 with Matt Ryan, led the way, 6 for 75. And I said start Paris Campbell this week yesterday when I posted that video. And you know what? He acquitted himself fine, 5 for 67. So it's a very severe target, a constricted target tree for Matt Ryan. But it's working. Both Campbell and Pittman are now doing fairly solid work with Ryan back under center. All right, the New England Patriots, 10-3 over the Jets. I don't know if anybody saw this game, but I'm not a Jet fan, I'm a Giant fan, even though I'm in New York. This is as gut-wrenching a loss as I've seen in a long time. You almost had to feel for the Jets. Marcus Jones, 84-yard punt return, almost at the gun. Just a truly devastating, like you watch that. If you're not invested with the Jets, especially, you watch that and you draw drops. It was a crazy ending. Braden Mann punted it 52 yards. He outkicked his coverage, and Marcus Jones returned it for a touchdown. One of the worst games I've seen all season. Listen, Zach Wilson is complete garbage. They cannot start him next week. You got to give Mike freaking White a chance because this is downright pathetic, Zach Wilson. I don't know if anybody in the chat was watching this game, but there was one play. Braxton Berrios was wide open. He was only about not even 7 yards away, wide open out in the left flat, and Wilson overthrew him to the point where Berrios didn't even jump. Wide open. He can't even make that throw. 9 for 22, 77 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Sacked 4 times. It's just not working. You've got to give Mike White a shot. And here's the thing, too, with the Jets. This is a really good team. They are being held back by their quarterback. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They have a great defensive line with Keenan Williams. They have a tremendous lockdown secondary with Sauce Gardner leading the way. All the pieces are there. They have the running backs. They have excellent receivers. They have a developing, very effective offensive line. They just don't have a quarterback. They have the worst quarterback in the NFL right now, and it's not even close. They cannot start Zach Wilson next week. Mac Jones, 23-27. He was efficient. But again, like even the Patriots, they just don't do anything throwing the football. Ramondre Stevenson was a bust, 15 for 26. Damian Harris was 8 for 65. So if you're a Stevenson owner, you got to be a little concerned now that maybe Bill Belichick starts giving a few more carries to Damian Harris, the next couple of games. There's just nothing to talk about in the passing game here. Ramondre Stevenson did save his day with 6 for 56. What's his name? Jacoby Myers. I almost called him Jamal Mayers, the hockey player. Jacoby Myers, 4 for 52. Not going to cut it there either. So, yeah, that was just a brutal game for sure. All right, so New Orleans Saints 27, the Rams 20. Listen, I respect Matt Ryan tremendously. I think he's a tremendous player. He's had a fantastic career. Number 1 overall pick out of Georgia. Won a Super Bowl last year. It's time to hang it up. It's very possible he suffered his second concussion in the last 3 weeks. It's a scary situation for especially for a guy who has 4 young daughters, a wife who went on her podcast and said she cried. She was extremely scared about the concussion that he got a couple of weeks ago. And now, after going 11 for 18 and 2 touchdowns, looking as good as he's looked all season, it's likely he has another concussion, and he's probably not going to play the rest of the season. And, we learned this morning that Cooper Kupp is going to miss the next 6 to 8 weeks. He's not going to play any more this season as well. It's over for the Rams. Probably the worst post-Super Bowl hangover I've ever seen. But the biggest concern is Matthew Stafford's health, and I hope he's going to be okay. It's not what you want to see. Andy Dalton, on the other hand, was 21 to 25, 263 touchdowns. So Andy Dalton's going to be the guy probably now the rest of the season. Alvin Kamara owners definitely could rejoice because he's going to throw the ball more to them. In terms of the passing game, Kamara did catch 4 for 47, 12 for 42 rushing. Not great, but again, you'd rather have Dalton than Winston under center there. Cam Akers, 14 for 61, looking as spry as he looked all season. Kyren Williams got 7 carries for 36 yards, 5.1 a carry. I told you he was a hold. I still believe so. He caught 1 pass for 8 yards, but I think, Sean McVay only gave 2 carries to Darrell Henderson. I think now the transition is starting to happen where Kyren Williams is pushing for playing time. And I think next season with this Bryce Perkins or whoever's starting under center for the Rams, Kyren Williams should be getting longer of a look. Sit 1 PPR, Mike Williams, Ayuk, or Tony. Oh God. I'd have to say Tony because Mike Williams and Ayuk are much more accomplished players, and I think they both have a good chance to score in their games. Taysom Hill led the way in rushing, 9 for 52. So, a little mini comeback for Taysom Hill. He caught a pass for 8 yards. Also completed a pass, but the whole thing with Taysom Hill is probably done. Again, if you're just coming in, make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the notification button as well. You vote on the poll. Also, the super chat is available if you need it. Chris Olave, 5 for 102 and a touchdown. So Olave, the best rookie wide receiver this season for sure in fantasy. 20.4 a pop. Really super talented player. And, with Michael Thomas out of the way, next season, Chris Olave is going to be drafted as a low-end wide receiver 1, and I definitely think he's worth it. So the tight end there, Johnson, 3 for 47 and 1 touchdown. Juwan Johnson, I had a brain fart for a second. I couldn't remember his first name. Juwan Johnson, 3 for 47 and a touchdown. He's scoring almost every week. So, again, if you're a Kyle Pitts owner, you could have had this guy all season and he would have vastly outproduced Kyle Pitts. Like that's how pathetic Pitts has been. Got Chargers money line plus 220. It's going to be tough. Plus 220, I guess, but I think the Chiefs are just such a juggernaut. And I think that and Mixon had a concussion, Zamora. He suffered a concussion, and I'll get to that game shortly. But the Chiefs really could just lock up the division with a win tonight, so I think the motivation is there. Make sure you guys hit the like button for me. I'd really appreciate that. The Detroit Lions 31-18 over the Giants. So the Lions are starting to get on a little bit of a mini run now. And listen, Jamal Williams had a game. Oh, my God. He's one of the fantasy stars of the day. 9 for 66 on the ground, 7.3 a pop. I was reading Jackson. 17 for 64 on the ground, 3 touchdowns. So Jamal Williams, he hits pay dirt almost every time he's close. So, it's almost like he's Ezekiel Elliott in this offense. He's always getting the goal line carries at the expense of DeAndre Swift. I know Swift got a late touchdown on the ground, but the game was certainly out of reach at that point. And Swift went 5 for 20. I don't think Swift caught a pass, though. Yeah, he did. He 3 for 12. So, again, other than the touchdown, it was a nothing performance for DeAndre Swift. That's another sunk cost, in my opinion, right there with Kyle Pitts. There's just no reason to play DeAndre Swift other than maybe as a flex at this point. Got Tony wanted to go off, but Casey still lose. Hey, listen, you hedged your bets on that one. You got it all covered, so I understand. Daniel Jones, 27 of 44, a touchdown and 2 picks. He did run for 50 yards and a score. So you're getting that dual contribution from Daniel Jones as well. But he's still, even in super flex leagues, he's a QB2 in super flex for sure. But in single quarterback leagues, he has very little value. Hey, boss, my trade deadline is next week. Any guys you think are good trade targets? Gerard, I haven't really given that thought. That I'm going to do a video on that. I'm going to go over it after the game after I do the stream today. And I promise you, I will put out a video Monday or Tuesday about that. Okay. Would you say to start Watson his first game back? No, I wouldn't. I would listen. He hasn't played in forever, so I would let the rust come off first. Yes, Amar, thank you. Hit the like button. And all right, so Amon-Ra St. Brown, 7 for 76. He didn't score, but another very solid fantasy day for him. So Wan'Dale Robinson, let's get to this one. So 9 for 100. So I've been saying all along, Wan'Dale Robinson, hold him, don't cut him. I took a lot of grief for him because he's been quiet the last couple of weeks, but this is what the Giants envisioned when they used a second-round pick on him out of Kentucky, using him all over the field, and it worked to perfection today. But he suffered a serious knee injury. Like I said, I read that blurb earlier in the show. It looks like it could be a season ender, and that just sucks. So listen, whatever Odell Beckham Jr. wants, the Giants got to give it to him. I mean, this was a bad loss today for the Giants. If they really want to salvage this season, they need help. Kenny Galladay caught 2 passes for 29 yards, but it's not going to work with him. Darius Slayton, 5 for 86. So right now he's a de facto top receiver in this offense, but they got to get Odell Beckham Jr. And they gotta bring him in quick. And I know Beckham is going to meet with the Giants after Thanksgiving, so that's something to keep an eye on there. Saquon Barkley, 15 for 22. So the Lions had an excellent game plan. They sold out to stop Barkley. They loaded the box, and they really did the job. 15 for 22 was just as bad as it gets for Barkley. 2 catches for 13 yards. Again, he's not being used I just don't understand it. Barkley caught 90 passes as a rookie. He's just not being used. Now, Daniel Jones doesn't throw to his back. So you talk about another quarterback that doesn't like to throw to his backs. That's Daniel Jones. Just like Jameis Winston in New Orleans, Jones doesn't throw to his running backs. And so when Barkley has a game like this where he's bottled up, then it's going to turn into a rough outing if he's not catching passes. And he didn't today. Talk about rough outing. Talk about rough month plus Lamar Jackson. So he was lucky to collect a rushing touchdown on a QB sneak, 24-33 passing, 209 yards, no touchdowns and interception. He ran for only 31 yards on 11 carries and had that QB sneak for a score. For myself, I own Jackson in both of my leagues. I started Justin Fields over him in both of my leagues, and clearly that was the right choice. But now with Fields' shoulder injury, I might have to go back to the well with Jackson. Is it too simplistic to say that Rashad Bateman's absence is causing this struggle for Jackson? I think so. But Mark Andrews was back and he went 6 for 63, which was a solid performance. DeMarcus Robinson, how about this guy? 9 for 128. So the performance was there receiver wise, but Jackson just cannot get into the end zone for whatever reason. So DeMarcus Robinson, man, yeah, that's crazy. And, he comes from Kansas City where he did very little, and now he's taken off with Baltimore. DJ Moore, I told you all to bench him. He went 3 for 24 with Baker Mayfield back on the center. Baker Mayfield is just complete garbage. Threw 2 more interceptions today. He might be just in front of Zach Wilson as the worst quarterback in the NFL. Donta Foreman, back to earth with a thud, 11 for 24. Didn't even catch a ball. Chuba Hubbard caught 2 balls for 25 yards and ran for 0 yards on 4 carries. So it was just an offensive mess all the way around for both teams in just a truly brutal game. All right, don't look now. The Washington Commanders are as hot as anybody in the NFL, and Taylor Heinicke is not going anywhere. They're now 6-5, ho-hum, workmanlike, 23-10 win over the Houston Texans, who are just simply brutal. So remember, I said Antonio Gibson. I think he's going to be very good the rest of the season. I did that video earlier last week and led the way 18 carries for 72 yards. And also contributed 3 catches for 31 yards. So it was Gibson, not Brian Robinson, who led the way rushing, and Robinson got 15 carries for 57 yards. So you could say it's almost a 50-50 split. I get it. Curtis Samuel had the rushing touchdown, neither one of these guys, but listen, it's Antonio Gibson. I think is going to be solid the rest of the season, and he had a very decent, decent day today. Terry McLaurin, 4 for 55. Not great, but you know what? He's allowed to have a dud. He's been excellent for weeks, and I still like the connection he has with Taylor Heinicke. Brandon Cooks sighting, 3 for 70. Nico Collins, 5 for 48. I said start Nico Collins, 9.8 fantasy points, not great, but, not a dud either. Dameon Pierce. So here's another thing, guys. I just did the video talking about how Dameon Pierce could be hitting is a guy you might want to sell high on because he's going to hit the rookie wall. He has already passed his high in touches at Florida when he was at the University of Florida, and he looked like he was on fumes today. 10 carries for 8 yards, just absolutely horrific. 2 catches for 9 yards. Opposing defense is going to start stacking the box even more because the Texans just have nothing offensively. Davis Mills is terrible. There is very valid concern to worry about Dameon Pierce rest of the season. I think he's tired now. I think he's going to hit the rookie wall. He is well past his previous high in touches with Florida. And perhaps now today we're starting to see that come to roost in terms of the struggles he had today. All right. Las Vegas. Josh McDaniels, big win. Davante Adams walks off the Broncos in overtime. Adams again, 7 for 141 and 2 touchdowns. Whether he's in Green Bay, whether he's with the Las Vegas Raiders, Davante Adams is completely unstoppable. He's an impossible person to deal with. Luckily, like I said, I survived the Davante Adams matchup because my opponent had Adams today. But man, it got scary at times, and he's just that good. The Raiders, they have solid pieces. I mean, Josh Jacobs, again, 24 for 109. He got every single carry for the Raiders today. You talk about a workhorse. And then came up with a very clutch catch late in the game. 3 catches for 51 yards. Josh Jacobs has been a PPR stud that nobody saw coming, especially when he played in the Hall of Fame game. The Raiders didn't pick up his option. That looks like a really foolish decision now, considering what kind of a season he's having. So Russell Wilson, 24 for 31, 247, but again, no touchdowns. I mean, the guy just cannot throw a touchdown to save his life. He should not be owned in single quarterback leagues. You just ignore the name brand. Wilson should not be owned. It's that bad. As far as on the ground, Latavius Murray was 17 for 49. That's 2.9 a pop. Even though he scored a touchdown, it's just ugly. Cortland Sutton, 5 for 80. That's about as good as you can get there for him because, he was double teamed a lot. Greg Dulcich, 4 for 30. So just nothing going right for the Denver Broncos. This is just an ugly team. It's boring to watch. I found myself kind of zoning out of this game while I was watching the other 2 games that were on at 4:00. Which one of those games were the Dallas Cowboys absolutely opening up a can on the Minnesota Vikings by a score of 40-3. Minnesota, their second loss of the season, they had reeled off 8 straight wins. And Dallas, after losing a game they should have won last week against the Green Bay Packers, I think the moment got to Mike McCarthy go against his former team. They rebounded in a huge way in this one, 40-3. And Tony Pollard, I mean, even with Ezekiel Elliott back, how about this? 15 carries for 80 yards. That's 5.3 a carry. Also, 6 catches for 109 yards and 2 scores. Ezekiel Elliott was 15 of 42, 2.8 a carry. So they split 30 carries, and Elliott was god awful. He scored 2 touchdowns, but they were right near the goal line. He didn't have to really do much to get them. I get it. He scored. He was able to get into the end zone twice, and he's been doing it all year. I'll give Elliott that. He's hitting pay dirt, sort of like Jamal Williams. When he gets close, he scores. But man, Tony Pollard is so electric. And if Dallas really thinks that they can win a Super Bowl this year, you have to keep feeding this guy. He's their best player on offense. CeeDee Lamb had a quiet game, 5 for 45. Dalton Schultz, a quiet game, 3 for 22. This was all about the backs in this one. Dak Prescott, 22 of 25. 276 yards, a workmanlike 2 touchdowns. Prescott was solid in this one, and he's been, more than solid since coming back from injury. Now, Kirk Cousins, yikes, 12 for 23, 105 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. The last couple of weeks have been simply abysmal for Cousins, who, generally has been solid, but this offense all of a sudden is having some issues. Dalvin Cook was 11 for 72, 6.5 a carry, but he only got 11 carries. I know they fell behind early, but he's your best player. He wasn't even targeted in the passing game. So, your best running back, who's capable receiver, doesn't even get 1 target. Justin Jefferson, who's dealing with a painful turf toe injury. He says he's going to be 100%. It's not going to affect him. He'll be just fine. Well, you know what? 3 for 33 receiving. It was brutal. Hey, Mike P is finally here. How's it going, Mike? Glad to see you. It was brutal for Justin Jefferson, 3 for 33. So is the toe an issue? It certainly looks like it, and it was not an impressive outing for him. Adam Thielen, 2 for 25. Even TJ Hawkinson, 5 for 34. Just ugliness all around for Minnesota. They have to be shaken by this game. There's no doubt about it. Cousins is definitely going to feel the heat from this one for sure. All right, Cincinnati Bengals. This was quite, whenever the Bengals and the Steelers play each other, you just throw out the records. Anything goes. Any possible result can happen. So, it wasn't surprising that it was closer than it was. And the Bengals ultimately prevailed here. And Joe Burrow, 4 touchdown passes, 24 for 39. He threw 2 picks. I believe he threw 4 against the Steelers, the week 1 of the season. So, the Steelers defense confuses him for sure. Based on all these interceptions he's thrown against them this season. But Joe Mixon, now that's the big story of this one. He suffered a concussion, handled 7 carries for 20 yards, 3 catches for 42 yards. So he did very little before he went out with the concussion. Samaje Perine, even though he was not good running the ball, only 11 for 30, caught 4 passes for 52 yards, 3 touchdowns. So that's crazy. Just put Samaje on waivers. Dropping Warren. Also, what's up with Lamar? I threw DeMarcus on waivers. Also, got to replace Swift somehow. Yeah, I mean, listen, Mike, Lamar's been bad. I discussed Lamar earlier. If you're just coming in now, make sure you watch the replay. Lamar's been bad. There's no doubt about it. I mean, his accuracy wasn't horrible today. The yardage even wasn't that bad, but he just, for some reason, when they're getting into the red zone, he just cannot connect, and he's not confident in his throwing around the red zone, and it shows because he's just not collecting any touchdowns. Somebody mentioned Tyler Boyd. Yeah, 2 for 42. Very bad for Tyler Boyd. I really thought he was going to be so much better than this with Jamar Chase not being in the game. But T. Higgins, quiet first quarter, then he absolutely went bonkers. 9 for 148. T. Higgins is a clear-cut wide receiver 1. Even with Jamar Chase back, he is a low-end wide receiver 1. That is T. Higgins. He is a stud. He was a high second-round pick for a reason, and he showed it today. Najee Harris. We have a Najee Harris comeback. 20 for 90, 2 rushing scores. Jaylen Warren ended up getting injured in this game. Only supplied 1 catch for 9 yards, so it was a complete busted outing for Jaylen Warren. But Najee Harris, at least, maybe he's starting to feel a little healthy, or much more healthy, I should say. He was solid last week in terms of handling all these carries, and this week as well, and he scored a touchdown this week. So, maybe there's a little bit of a flourish for Harris the rest of the season. I don't know. I wouldn't hold your breath. but at least it's something. And now we got to monitor Jaylen Warren's situation. I haven't gotten any updates on that yet. I got a lot of George Pickens questions this week. Should I start him? And I did say, I think in the majority of the cases to start him because, again, Kenny Pickett and George Pickens have a connection. Well, Pickens scored today, 4 catches for 83 yards, 20.8 a pop. He is a big play wideout, did the job today. And even Pat Freiermuth was good, 8 for 79. You talk about a guy who's quietly having a very good season. That's Pat Freiermuth. I mean, he's been everything that Kyle Pitts is not this season. Pat Freiermuth has been. So I would continue to ride him. Deontay Johnson, yikes, 4 for 21. I don't even know what to say anymore about Deontay Johnson, honestly. I think he's now just a flex. Caught all those passes last season, and, it's just not happening for him this year. Ben Roethlisberger, he had a really good rapport with Deontay Johnson, but for whatever reason this season, it hasn't carried over. All right, let me see. So Michael, I just want to look at the injuries again real quick. So Michael Parsons, he suffered a knee injury today. We know Juju Smith-Schuster is out tonight because of the concussion. Matthew Stafford. So Gerald Everett inactive tonight with the groin injury. That was a little bit of a surprise. So I not that I was playing him, but I saw that he was out, and that made me think, okay, Mike Williams and Keenan Allen will probably get more receptions, more targets from Justin Herbert. And I think Justin Herbert is somebody you should try to buy low on this week. I think he's going to be good tonight. I talked about the playoff schedule for the quarterbacks in the last stream that I did, so make sure you check that out. And I thought, Herbert has a very good fantasy football playoff schedule. And now that he's got Mike Williams back, now that he's got Keenan Allen back, I think that things are going to look up for him. He's still got Austin Eckler, who's scoring a lot of touchdowns and doing his thing. So I think that there's a big finish possible for Justin Herbert, sort of like Jonathan Taylor at running back. And so I think if there's an opportunity in the last week before the trade deadline, you need to try to bring Justin Herbert aboard. Let's go, baby. 164 from the squad. If Pickens caught that last TD, would have been at 180-ish. Yeah, Kevin, that's the thing too. Like, there's nothing to me more frustrating than when you're playing somebody and their players are accruing garbage time points, and what looked like it was going to be a win for you starts to slip away and whatnot. Garbage time points are a scourge for me. I always seem to come out of the short end of the stick when it comes to stuff like that. I'm trying to look up to see anything about Jaylen Warren. I don't have any. He injured his hamstring. I mean, listen, a hamstring injury is almost always a missed game. So on that front, I don't think Jaylen Warren is going to be able to play next week. But it's with Najee Harris now playing better. I think the temperature on a potential change from Harris to Warren has been lessened. So, there is that at least. So now in terms of Justin Fields, like I said, injured the left shoulder on the final play of the drive. He was not in a sling, but he described the pain as pretty bad. So, it looks like Fields is most likely, if it's pretty bad, I think it's going to be iffy for him to go next week. And, for me as a Lamar Jackson and a Justin Fields owner, that puts me in a little bit of a bind because I'm just not comfortable with Lamar Jackson. Now, next week, Justin Fields has the Jets at New York. The Jets defense is playing a lot better. I think that, and certainly they shut down New England today, and they've been shutting teams down all season, the Jets, and they're doing it in spite of their quarterback. So that's not an easy matchup for Fields, but Lamar Jackson is at Jacksonville. So I think if Fields were healthy, I would be more tempted to start Jackson against, Jacksonville, rather than Fields against the Jets. But I hope it's nothing serious with Fields because I would like to have that option of going back and forth between the two because this is not a super flex league. It's a one QB league. But certainly that was a big one today. Wan'Dale Robinson, that was a real shame as well. It's more clear than ever that CPAT is not playable. He saved his day with the kick return TV. Yeah, you know what? I didn't talk about CPAT. Yeah, he salvaged his day with the kick return score. If you do count kick returns, then it wasn't a complete zero performance. But yeah, L. Dot is right. You can't play Cordero Patterson. I don't know why. I mean, he's their best offensive player right now. And, I know they like the kid from BYU. Caleb Huntley. I mean, what are we doing here? Caleb Huntley. Cordero Patterson should be starting. He should be getting a majority of carries. You could sprinkle in Algier if you need to. But Patterson has done too many good things for too long of a time not to be given more work. Chris Olave, nice to see him. Cook Ramsey sober. Yeah, Ramsey, listen, Jalen Ramsey is all talk, and he's very little action right now. DeAndre Hopkins absolutely humiliated him last week. Chris Olave burned him for the long touchdown today. So, yeah, I totally agree, Kevin. I think Jalen Ramsey is just a big mouth, and he's just not that good anymore. Because, like I said, DeAndre Hopkins totally eviscerated him last week. And, it was pretty embarrassing, especially with Colt McCoy at quarterback and not Kyler Murray. So, and that's the other thing, DeAndre Hopkins owners. So the one league I have him in, I'm going to win my matchup. So I don't really have to sweat this too much. I had picked up Keontae Ingram as a hedge, as the best available player to throw in there at the flex spot in case Hopkins couldn't go. But then I dropped Ingram and I picked up Trey McBride. That's what I would do if you're a DeAndre Hopkins owner. I would go with Trey McBride because I think, he will be more involved this week with Zach Ertz, of course, out for the season. Only player on my team to not drop 10 plus with Schultz due to the blood. Yeah, I mean, Kevin, that happens. As a fan, and it's a weird juxtaposition to be in because you want your players to succeed. You want them to put up points. But if their team puts up too many points too quickly, then the opportunities are going to dry up in the second half because they're going to pull back the reins. They're going to put the second team guys in, the backups, and you're not going to get the optimal amount of potential fantasy points that you can get. So, just about 10 minutes to go before the Chiefs Chargers game. And like I said, I'm really looking forward to this game because I think that there's going to be a ton of points scored. There's opportunity for Mike Williams and Keenan Allen to make a successful return. Schultz got me today too. Yeah, Schultz got me in one of my leagues. So I have Schultz in both of my leagues, but I benched him for Allen Robinson, who actually scored a touchdown and had a fairly productive day by the lessened Allen Robinson expectations. So, but now with Stafford injured, you can't play Allen Robinson anymore. You can't play any Rams player. And that's the other thing. If you own Cooper Kupp, Williams or Tony, that's a tough one. What do you think, guys? Williams or Tony? Let's take a consensus on this one. I would say Williams because I think the Chiefs can go up early and the Chargers are going to have to come from behind and throw the football. So I'm going to say Williams. What do you guys think? Nigel, down by 40 points. Opponent has Keenan Allen. I have Justin Herbert and CMC. Half a PPR. Opponent has Keenan, Herbert and CP. See, that's tough because your opponent has Keenan Allen, you have Herbert. So when Herbert throws to Allen, you lose. If it's even in a half PPR, because most leagues a quarterback gets a point for 25 yards. In fantasy for PPR for receivers, I should say, they get a point or a half a point for reception and then the yards to go with it. So I think that's gonna be tough, Nigel. Gano killed me today, Mike. So yeah. It was a rough weather day, and that's why the weather report videos I always feel are very crucial because the wind was swirling in the Northeast. I talked about the Giants game, talked about the Ravens game, the Patriots Jets game. Not a lot of points scored in that game at all, and it was because of the weather. So, should we trust Gerald Everett? We can't trust him, Bez, because he's not playing. He's out. So I don't know if you have him in there, but you might want to exit the chat and quickly make that change because Everett is not playing tonight. So make sure you adjust that. A couple kickers got 20 plus today. Which kickers got 20 plus? So I like I've told you guys before, I don't play leagues with kickers anymore. So the two leagues I'm in, we decided to drop kickers. And I think it's the greatest thing ever because there's no rhyme or reason. Bass and Mar. Okay. Yeah. Mar had an insane 60 plus yard kick. Cam Akers has easy schedule coming up. Pick him up. Joe, you could do that. Kyron Williams, I still think is going to get more work. I think the Rams are done with Darrell Henderson. They gave him only the 2 carries today, I think it's over. And Nigel, by the way, I wanted to thank you for those super chats that you gave me the last couple of streams. That was very nice and generous of you. I really appreciate that. And Joe, you too. I know you sent me a couple as well, so thank you for that. Yeah, Dallas kicker was crazy. That was he nailed the 60-yarder, and then they had to review the CeeDee Lamb catch. That was it, and then he comes back and he kicks it again. So that was nuts. Should have played Dallas defense. Said New Orleans was expecting this. Yeah, geez, I mean that was crazy. The Vikings. You can't trust a Kirk Cousins team. He's a great, not great. He's a very good regular season quarterback, but then when the games get more important as the season goes on, that's when the trouble starts. Cam got 16 carries. So, yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be – wait, Joe, he got Akers got 16 carries? I didn't look at that box score that closely. If he did, then, listen, that's Sean McVay saying we got to look at the young guys. And Darrell Henderson, let's move out from him. There's no point in even bothering with him anymore. Isaiah Pacheco, Rondale Moore, I'm down 20 points. Oof. Then you got to go Rondale Moore. I think there's a higher chance of him going off than Isaiah Pacheco because I think it's going to be an aerial show and Pacheco doesn't catch passes. I dropped Mar for Zerline because I thought it would be a kicker's day. But, yeah, Michael P., it sounded like you had a rough day, man. Listen, we've all been there. We've all had those days, no doubt about it. And that's why also when I do these Sunday night streams, I want this to also serve as like a cleanse. Get all your frustration out. Throw it all out there. Who screwed you? Who, how badly did you lose? Did you lose by less than a point? All that stuff. It's like therapy for all of us, right? I had concerns about playing New England defense next week about the Vikings, but not anymore. Yeah, listen. Things were going so well for so long, but Justin Jefferson, that for 33, he's got a toe injury. And guys, the one thing about it, toe injuries are devastating for players, whether it's a receiver, running back. It seems like such a small thing, but any toe injury for an NFL player is a major problem. All right, we got a $4.99 super chat from Bez. Wow, thanks, boss. I picked up my kitty. I'm going to crunch. Thank you, Bez, for that super chat. I really appreciate that. And that does help the channel, guys. So, thank you because it more than it helps support the channel and everything that goes along with it. Production of draft guides. I have some merchandise ideas I'm thinking about doing, maybe hats and a shirt. So all of that goes to the channel. So I definitely appreciate that. All the money I get in super chats goes right back into the channel. So thank you for that. Yeah, McKitty, I mean, listen, stranger things have happened, right, Bez? And in a game that there's going to be a lot of fireworks, I guess it's worth a shot. Had Brian Robinson on flex looking like I should have went Tony. Yeah, I mean, he got the workload, but Antonio Gibson, remember, I did say Antonio Gibson is going to be more of a thing the rest of the season, and he wound up leading the team in carries. So I think that certainly going forward, Gibson might be more of a thing than we anticipated. Going back to the beginning of the season, will look like he was in a doghouse and not going to be able to come out. Don't play Pats next week, Lo. I'm a Pats fan. They're about to get smoked next few weeks. Yeah, Kevin, it's Mac. What do you think of Mac Jones? Honestly, I mean, the accuracy is good. He's smart. He doesn't have much of an arm. He was impressive last year as a rookie. He actually was the best rookie quarterback of all those quarterbacks last season that went in the first round. So all the props to him, but I'm not liking what I'm seeing from him this season. Now, certainly the coaching, he's got Matt Patricia and Joe Judge helping him on offense, which is not a good thing in my opinion. So maybe that has to do with it, but it's a very unimaginative offense. At 90, but opponent is 2. Still have Tony. So you tie it at 90, still have Tony and Allen left, and he has Eckler. Yeah, I think you're going to be okay, Mike. I think you're going to be all right. I'm really curious to see what Tony does. I know that game starts in 4 minutes. Maybe should I do like a short fantasy cast? What do you guys think? We could do some of that. Let me put the TV on. I got to pick this computer up for a second while I turn the TV on. I'm sorry about the moving. I'm going to put the TV on here because, oh, shoot, of course it's over here. All right, I'm sorry about this, guys. I'm just going to put the TV on real quick so that way we'll do like an impromptu fantasy cast. What do you think? All right, we'll do the impromptu fantasy cast. And again, sorry for the awful ambiance behind me. I relegated to the bedroom tonight because I have to defer to the wife and kids using the basement tonight. So, Gotta keep the peace, right? All right, let's get this game going on here. So we'll have a little fantasy cast tonight. And honestly, I don't know who brought it up to stream during the games, but I really enjoy doing that on Thursdays. So I'm going to definitely keep doing that. And we'll see. We'll watch a few minutes, maybe a quarter of this game, and then we'll go our separate ways here. Who would you bet on for the rest of the season, Stevenson or Zeke? If it's a PPR league, I would say Stevenson for sure. 100%, because every week he's going 5, 6, 7 receptions. And today was a dud, but Stevenson is a very capable runner as well. I think it's a combo of the line, him also like the offensive coach. Yeah, I think the offensive coaches, I think, is a big thing for sure. 100%. Yeah, we're not trying to listen to you than Chris Collinsworth. Oh, thank you, Aldad. I appreciate that. Yeah, Collinsworth is getting a little annoying for me. I'm just, I'm kind of over it with him as well. And I'm also over it with Tony Romo. I just don't want to hear him anymore. I'm up by 51, but he has Connor and Jimmy G to play. What do you think? So you're up 51. He has Connor and Jimmy G. So you got to go under the notion 25 points each. I think you're going to be okay, but it's going to be really close. I think really close. I hope Olave continues. He may have saved my week with the dud Barkley put up. Yeah, I think Olave is going to be fine. Listen, he's a wide receiver 1 on talent. Right now, he's a fantasy low-end wide receiver 2, but I think it's more a quarterback issue than anything. I think he's making the best of a rough quarterback situation, Olave. Joe, you can go pop the champagne right now. Yeah, okay. Hey, listen, M. John thinks you got it in the bag. I think you do too, but listen, I've seen stranger things happen before, so I never want to say 100% you got it. I love Romo. Yeah, listen, Romo was interesting early on. Listen, the guy's got a great life. He was, he's got a gorgeous, beyond gorgeous wife. I don't know if anybody's seen pictures of who he's married to. He was banging Jessica Simpson for however long, that lasted. And, he's got all the money in the world. And listen, I'll give the guy props too. He was a hell of a player, undrafted player from Eastern Illinois. And, I actually he was one of my guys when he played. I used to always seem to have Tony Romo or Matt Ryan earlier in his career, at least. And, he's very good at broadcasting, but I'm kind of getting bored with him a little bit. Tony Pollard was crazy today. Huge TD at the end of the game. Yeah, Tony Pollard really saved my bacon in the one league I own him. He was terrific. He is so explosive. It's not even funny. Like, he really is like the real deal. Ezekiel Elliott will be gone after the season. I believe Pollard's a free agent, though. Am I wrong? I thought I had saw that he was a free agent. I don't remember if this was his 3rd or his 4th season, but I thought Pollard might be a free agent at the end of the year. I might be wrong, but he is so good. It's unbelievable. And the thing is too, like, he can cut on a dime. He's got like Barry Sanders ability and like just to stop and go, quick cut, and he's up the field. It's nuts. Pollard's a free agent. Yeah, he is a free agent. So I thought so. He's going to get paid. He's going to get paid big time. Although they could slap the franchise tag on him. So, Ezekiel Elliott, they're probably going to cut him loose. And then, they'll probably then slap the franchise tag on him, which, I hate the franchise tag. I think it's bullshit. Like, give the guys money. And the same thing with Saquon Barkley. I think Saquon Barkley might be hit with the franchise tag as well, because the Giants and Barkley weren't able to come up with an agreement. So, all right. So, game's about to start. Mike Williams is in uniform. Keenan Allen, hopefully he lasts more than a play before re-injuring his hamstring. God, how frustrating it must be to be a Keenan Allen owner. And I've been the biggest Keenan Allen fan up until this season. This is actually the first year I don't think I'm not owning Keenan Allen. I think he's just one of the more underrated receivers in fantasy. In PPR, he's been a monster every year of his career. He doesn't score as many touchdowns as you like. That's the one knock on him. And that's ultimately why I didn't go with him this season, because I wanted to try to get more touchdowns, because I realized last season in my unsuccessful 2 leagues, I didn't win it. I needed more touchdowns. So as many passes as Allen catches, 100-something passes a year, he just doesn't score enough touchdowns. That's the problem. So get ready to kick off here. So how about this? We'll watch a drive for each team, and then we'll sign off, because I know you all want to watch the game, and I don't want to. I know we're on different like I guess, plays at different times based on whether you have satellite or cable TV or whatnot. All right, so the Chiefs are going to get the ball. Isaiah Pacheco back to receive the kick, which is interesting. So we'll get an early look at Kadarius Toney if Kadarius Toney's going to have the monster game that I think he will. You know, I have Travis Kelce in one of my leagues, so that's always a nice, comforting thing to have Travis Kelce. And the ball goes into the end zone. So what do you think the first play is? A draw to Kadarius Toney? I think they're going to want to get him involved early. All right, so Pacheco's coming out. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, was nice knowing you, but your season is pretty much done. Justin Watson is playing out there as well. And Justin Watson, you know, if you were in a one of those DraftKings, I think Justin Watson, you know, was somebody that probably had some appeal. Yep. So Pacheco gets the ball first. So 7th round rookie of Rutgers is the starting running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. That's crazy. And, you know, the thing is, I saw a lot of Pacheco while he was in college, and, you know, he's got good speed. The instincts are not there. If you watch Pacheco, now he's gotten better as the season gone on, but, like, he doesn't always see the hole. He'll take it up the field, not see the hole, and he'll run the wrong way and he'll get tackled. You know, he doesn't have those instincts yet. But and who was that now? Is that all right? So here we go. They're spreading the ball around already. Jeez. But getting back to Pacheco, he doesn't catch the football either. All right, he's not going to catch a lot of football. So Fortson, they're really going down into the depth chart, aren't they? I mean, oh my God, Fortson. If anybody had Fortson being the first reception for the Chiefs. All right, good fake there. Whoop. Oh, boy, he just got nailed. Balls up. All right, it's going out. That's good. All right. So, so Pacheco, we'll see. I mean, listen, it seems like I've been overly critical of Pacheco. It's just that he's limited as a player, in my opinion. I do like the speed. If he gets into the open field, he could definitely go. There's no doubt about it. He definitely could take it to the house. You know, he has that in his tool belt, but doesn't catch the ball. Mahomes, you know, doesn't really look for him much. I think, you know, maybe they'll try to work that in tonight. All right, another carry there. Good run there. Wow, there you go. See, I just got done telling you, if he finds daylight, he can go. Just got done a minute ago saying if he can get daylight, he can go. So there it is. Good run. Impressive run. And that was a good read. So sweep to the left. All right, see, now that was a patient run. So he's gotten better at that. You know, when he first started the season, that's why Clyde Edwards-Helaire became the starter. Not became the starter, but held on to the starting job early on in the season because Pacheco wasn't seeing those holes and he wasn't attacking it, you know, with wasted movement, which comes with experience. All right, so this is a good drive for the Chiefs. I don't know what that was. Miscommunication. So that probably. So what we might be seeing too is, you know, Mahomes probably not on the same wavelength as a lot of these receivers, just because they haven't had the amount of practice time together with all the injuries, knocking out Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman. So Toney has not been targeted yet. I think we're due for a jet sweep. And that's the thing, too, with Toney. He's sort of like a Debo Light because he can take the jet sweep, use his speed, his athletic ability. All right, chat's gone quiet. I guess everybody's watching, huh? All right, so now Noah Gray. So, yeah, again, they're really spreading it around. So anybody who has Kadarius Toney, you're already saying to yourself, come on, man, throw it to him, right? Isn't that what we do? Come on, throw it to our guy. And you know what's funny, too? Like, what I do is when a certain player I have on Thursday night or Monday night or Sunday night is struggling, I like to go on Twitter and type in their name and just commiserate with the other miserable owners of that player because, you know, misery loves company. So 3rd and 7 here. Interesting call here. So they have not. So Jerick McKinnon comes in as usual. So they haven't gotten Toney involved yet. This could be a Kelce. He was looking for him. All right, so Sky Moore. So now Sky Moore is getting involved. So everybody's getting involved but Kadarius Toney, right? I mean, isn't that how it's supposed to go? The hype train is an overdrive for Kadarius Toney, but now Mahomes is throwing everybody else. So maybe that means he's going to throw to Toney in the end zone and we're going to get a touchdown from it. I'm still waiting for that jet sweep. I know it's coming. Andy Reid loves the jet sweep. He's got a guy in Toney that can do it. So come on, let's see here. All right, so now Moore's in the backfield. And there's somebody we thought was going to be a lot better this season. It just hasn't happened. All right, so Edwards-Helaire, excuse me, that was Edwards-Helaire, not Moore. So Edwards-Helaire gets his first carry. Yeah, you know what? He's puzzling to me. He was very, very productive in college, extremely productive in college. And when he was drafted by the Chiefs, you thought, oh my God, it's Brian Westbrook reincarnated. But it just hasn't happened. And I don't think it will. I mean, if Andy Reid can't bring it out of you, then it's sorry to say it's definitely not going to happen. So even Kelce, Kelce and Toney do not have a reception, and everybody else does. Oh man, is that a drop? Yikes. All right, so Kelce with a drop. So now he's gone to Kelce, so Toney's the only one he hasn't gone to. I'm playing versus Toney, so please no. Yeah, listen. So far, it's looking pretty good, M. John. I mean, listen, it's only the first drive. I know we overreact to stuff like this. I do it too. You want your guys to ball out right away. But remember, guys, make sure you still post questions if you want. I'm still here. So we'll watch this drive. We'll watch one Chargers drive, and then we'll cut it short. But then the next stream, I am streaming tomorrow for the injury updates. So make sure you tune in for the stream tomorrow. Oh, what the hell was that? No flag either. So he went to Kelce again. So a bagel for Kelce, a bagel for Toney. Really, really big. Is that Derwin James? So yeah, Derwin James has had great success against Kelce in the past. Oh man, that should have been a flag. I don't know. It was a slight tug on the left side of his jersey, but I don't think it was. I mean, what do you think about that? What time tomorrow? I'm probably gonna do probably 5. I like the 5-6 range. That's usually when I do the streams. So make sure we look for that. And Palmer season. I don't know if Palmer's getting a lot of catches tonight because Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are back. Look like a missed call for. Yeah, I thought I thought he grabbed him a little bit, but also Mike, you want them to play a little. And so like I kind of. I mean, you could call pass interference on almost any play now. Like there's always something. So, who knows? But I'm curious to see now what the Chargers do offensively. I think Justin Herbert, he's finally got his toys back. He's got his main weapons back. It's been a long time coming. It's been a long, season of struggle for him, and he was the third quarterback generally off boards in the draft. So I think that. He's certainly capable of a lot more than he's shown so far this season. So we'll have to see. But anyway, so it also reminds me, Thanksgiving. So Thursday, Thanksgiving. I'm not going to stream Thursday. I don't expect any of you to come on for a stream on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. Spend it with your family. If there's any like catastrophic injury, I'll update it on Friday. I'll discuss it Friday. It's going to be Eastern time zone. I'm sorry. Eastern time zone. And I'll post that on the community board. So do you guys keep an eye on the message board there? Cause I do post quite a bit on that. So make sure you look at that as well. Sometimes, I'll post the times on that. Just another way for me to make contact with you. But anyway, Thanksgiving. So there's some good games. This Giants-Cowboys game I'm really looking forward to. I hate seeing New England though. I just can't. Kevin, I'm sorry. I just can't deal with watching New England. It's just such an unimaginative team. The defense is good, but I just want no part of watching the New England Patriots right now. It's just not fun football to watch. It really isn't. So, but Detroit. But even Detroit, playing the Bills, there's going to be a lot of potential points scored in that game. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to have a huge game. They're Buffalo certainly probably going to get used to the surroundings. Their second game in a row there. And by the way, that snow was insane. I think that I read that one area, I don't know if it was Hamburg, got like 77 inches. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, we all love snowstorms, but that's like that's a little too much. And, if you ask me, I don't think YouTube lets you get alerts for the community posts. So I haven't seen any. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I'm still relatively new to this, but I do post on that board quite a bit. So make sure you look for that. I didn't know if that's part of like with the channel in terms of getting alerts and things like that. So yeah, so I think we're up to 1,040 something subscribers. So yeah, upward and onward. Thank you guys again. The support means a lot. So here, Justin Herbert, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen on the field there. Austin Ekeler. Whoa, Mike Williams' hair in that picture. Austin Ekeler has been right there at the top as far as fantasy football MVP. It's crazy how, and he's not a big man. I mean, look at how, he's quite small, but he is still a very powerful runner, and he's the best receiving back in the league. All right, so on first down, they're going to try to get Keenan Allen involved early. What did I just say? Keenan Allen, there you go. He's back. All right, I nailed that one. Let me brag for just a second. I nailed that one. See, now I coach football. It's at the high school level, of course, nothing like this. But it's the same concept in that when you have somebody coming back from injury that's been out for a while, you want to reacclimate them as quickly as possible. So that's coaching 101. Scheme it open, scheme the guy a play, and get him fired up and ready to go. And it fires up the rest of the team too, because they're excited that he's back. All right, so so Carter with the screen pass outside. So they're definitely, the Chargers are not playing around. They're being very aggressive right at the start of this game, as they should. So they know that Kansas City is just a juggernaut offensively. All right, so Allen's on the sideline. I think he's just catching his breath. I don't think there's anything to worry about. My God, could you imagine if he got hurt again? I doubt it, but we'll see. All right, so now we're looking for Mike Williams. Another pass going deep. Oh, Josh Palmer. Who said Josh Palmer? Oh, M. John, is that you? Holy crap. Wow. Hey, M. John. Awesome. If that's crazy. I didn't see that coming. With Williams and Allen back, it's Josh Palmer with the first touchdown. But there it is. Justin Herbert all of a sudden looks like Justin Herbert because he got all of his guys back. Let's go. All right, M. John, that's awesome. Good stuff. I just got a trade offer. I get Stevenson and Freiermuth for Zeke and Christian Watson. Christian Watson. No, let's see. That's a tough one. You know what? If you need a tight end, I would do it. I like Stevenson the best out of those four players. I think, Watson is still a little bit of a novelty act. And did he get in though? Yeah, he's good. And how frustrating is it when a guy catches a pass like that and then they're knocked at the one, and then the running back comes in and takes it? Yeah, he's definitely in. I don't know what they're reviewing for, but anyway. So successful first drive for the Chargers. So they already look like a different team. Tight end is Kmet. Okay, well, that with Justin Fields now injured, I would do that trade because, like I said, I think Fields is going to miss a week, and it's with the left, even though it's his left shoulder, I think they're going to play it safe. They're not going to put him in any harm's way. I think that they're going to, be very cautious with that as well. Yeah, I'm telling you, Justin Herbert is going to be really good the rest of the season. I talked about Jonathan Taylor, Justin Herbert, same thing. Veteran guys, prime fantasy football guys that we had high expectations for who haven't totally delivered yet, but I think are going to do so the rest of the season. Jonathan Taylor scored another touchdown today. He's looked good. He's looked spry. He looked like the guy that we all loved, who was the first pick in most of the drafts this season. Excuse me. So I think that, I think things are going to be really looking up there as well. I guess that Cole Kmet season is over too. Yeah, I guess so too, Aldot. The Bears are sunk if Justin Fields is out. I don't think that. I think that it's going to be a real tough sledding for them going forward if he is in fact injured. So we just have to see. And so that's why I do stream on Mondays, because we get the injury updates, the initial injury updates from the coaches when they meet with the media, and we can get a better read on just how bad it is for Fields. I hope it's not, because he's been a great story. All right, guys, I'm going to close it up shop. We did a first drive here for each team. It's going to be a good game. Go enjoy the rest of the game. Have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you all tomorrow for the live stream, so make sure you look for that notification. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for the super chats and all that stuff, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.